Today, people from all walks of life, from all over the world, are working together to solve the world's global economic and global warming problems. And here in Udon Thani, in the northeast of Thailand, people are coming together for a different reason. The Friends of Udon are bringing together Thai and Farang, government officials and laymen to help people who previously had very little hope in these parts. Handicapped children. The story we bring to you today actually started 7 years ago, a long way away from here in Australia, with a very tragic accident. Torsten Schultz had been hiking hundreds of miles through the Australian outback when he decided his trip had come to an end. He found a road and thumbed a ride, unfortunately with a drunk driver. Torsten dozed off near exhaustion, and the next time he woke, not in the car, but many days later from a coma in hospital with a broken back. He was paralyzed from the chest down. Now he lives here in Isan, where he chooses to spend his time and money helping those less fortunate than himself. Traveling into the poorest rural areas, seeking out and helping to improve the desperate lives of the handicapped, Torsten has become an inspiration to many, and now has a band of volunteers who join him in his quest. They are the Friends of Udon. Together, they locate and carefully analyze each case, currently prioritizing the handicapped children. Donating wheelchairs, improving water supplies, building wheelchair ramps, toilet facilities, and even new houses, providing teachers, bringing hospitals and schools together, and even bringing the most unfortunate cases into Torsten's own home. Currently, all this is funded by Torsten himself. A true light in the darkness. Udon Thani is one of the largest cities in Thailand, and it lies near the Mekong in an area known as Isan. And since people first came here, their main source of income has been agriculture, specifically rice farming. Now, as such, that means there's a lot of poverty in this area. It is, in fact, the poorest area of Thailand. For handicapped children, that means life can be really very difficult, and many of them go unseen. The Friends of Udon have come together since 2008 and are working with government officials in the area to try to give these children a better life. The Friends of Udon invited me to Udon Thani so that I could travel with them and the government officials into the poorest areas of Isan so that I might see for myself how desperate some of these children are and how their lives are being improved with just a little help. Driving through Isan after the rice harvest, it seems a very harsh environment. The groundwater has all dried up, and the ramshackle houses offer a little respite from the sun and very little else. Life here is hard. For the handicapped and their families, it's near impossible. I've come here today to see young Jen, who has, thanks to the Orbitor and the local government, had a new toilet built for her which she can actually use now. So they've put in a wheelchair ramp, and now Jen has a future because she can go to school, which means they've made a huge difference, not just to her life but to her whole family. And it's projects like this that are really making a difference to the community here. So this is a victory here. They've actually really moved forward. It's one of the small things that's being done to change a really unfortunate life into one that can now grow and flourish. We left Jen and her family in peace and said goodbye to the government officials. When I first arrived in this area, I was overwhelmed by the scale of the task at hand. But having seen Jen's smile and her family's gratitude at what the Friends of Udon have done for them, it all becomes clear. We can do something. Something is being done. Lives are being changed. We headed back to base, currently Torsten's house, where one can see the early stages of his dream being recognized. He is currently trying to establish the Friends of Udon as a registered charity in Thailand, with the ultimate aim of building a village of sorts to house some of the children, educate others, offer in-house medical and physiotherapy treatments with special needs teachers and all the other facilities that may help to improve their lives. Here, Torsten's father, Peter, makes improvements and personalizes wheelchairs to suit individual needs. Teachers patiently educate, and volunteers, as well as paid staff, take care of some of those whom Torsten has taken in, including a 15-year-old boy named Big. So this is the room in the house where the Friends of Udon initially found Big. Now, when they found him, there was of course no mat, there was no concrete floor, there was no roof. It was dirt. He was lying curled up. His brother has to work as a security guard, so he doesn't have the time or the money to take care of him properly. And young Big was locked up in here, in this little room, without a toilet, without water, without anything. Now, on the bright side, he's moved in with Torsten, and he has a family and actually is walking for the first time. Now let's remember, Big is 15 years old, so we don't know how long he's been living like this, but what we do know is things are certainly looking better for him right now. As the days went by on my visit to Udon Thani and the surrounding areas, I became more and more amazed by what was being done here. We visited many children who have been helped by the generosity of this group of incredible people. One of those who really touched my heart is Tao, a wonderful little boy who possibly suffers from cerebral palsy and polio, but diagnoses here are not easy to come by. Tao is a special case, as his mind is sound and he is perfectly aware of his situation, which means he is continuously in pain. But he is such a strong character that he braves it out in order to share a toothy grin with all his welcome guests. The Friends of Udon have already improved his living conditions, but have recently purchased this stretch of land and intend to build him a new house. While we were here, Tao told us that he wants to seek out physiotherapy, and the Friends of Udon are in the process of arranging it. Next up, we paid a visit to Oratai, a young girl who may have been the victim of a medical trial gone wrong, but we're unlikely to ever find out what happened. Opposite from Tao, she seems less mentally aware, but is physically quite responsive, and there is hope that with physiotherapy and the right care and training, that she may be able to control her own wheelchair or even walk once again. The Friends of Udon have made home improvements so that she can live downstairs, as her mother is no longer capable of carrying her, and due to the amount of care she requires, her mother is no longer able to work. So basically, we're at the house of Oratai, who's one of the kids that Torsten and the Friends of Udon have started to take care of, and as we can see already, there's a lot of care going into this, and Oratai is in a much better position. But the really important thing is these guys together are very carefully considering what they're going to do. They're not just throwing money around willy-nilly, it's being spent carefully, if it needs to be spent at all. In this case, they're bringing food to her, they're bringing wheelchairs to her. They're not just handing money over to families and authorities which might end up in the wrong places. So Oratai here is one of the lucky ones, and hopefully there are going to be many more that follow suit. We visited Jen, who was shot in the back by kids when she was 9 and carries a similar injury to Torsten. He gave her one of his wheelchairs. Tor, who just needed a new pair of shoes. Along with Jen, Big, Oratai and Tao, these are just a few examples of some of the 70 children already in the care of the Friends of Udon, and the numbers are growing every day as they head further out into the villages of Isan. Perhaps their most remarkable achievement is the early stages of cooperation between the schools, hospitals and the Friends of Udon. Torsten hosted a meeting at his house while I was a guest, which was attended by local handicapped teachers, hospital administrators and nurses. The meeting culminated in the beginnings of an agreement between all parties to share their resources. For example, ambulances could be used to collect handicapped children from surrounding villages and bring them to school and get them into physiotherapy. English teachers will educate nurses at the hospitals and help to create income for the hospital so that they can afford to improve their own facilities. Computers will be donated and a new tiled floor put in at this handicapped classroom. In what initially seemed to me to be a task too huge to imagine, there is a great deal of progress and hope for these children. They are living amongst some of the world's kindest and most caring people here in Thailand, and now, thanks to Torsten and the Friends of Udon Foundation, their plight is being brought to light, and their futures, all once uncertain, are becoming much brighter. It's Torsten's dream to make a community village, to provide possibly the best care available for those who previously had none, and he hopes that soon he will be granted the right to operate as a charity here so that we all might be allowed to contribute to this remarkable effort, knowing that our donations are going to the right place. I left Udon Thani having learned a great deal, humbled by such selfless dedication and overwhelmed with emotion by this group of people who are giving so much to this community. Perhaps we should all think about giving a little more to those who need it, victims of war, the handicapped, sick and poor, not just here in Udon Thani, but the world over. And just imagine what kind of world we could be living in.